I'm ready to rig the eyes. But before I do this, I finish attaching the control of the neck to the body. Right now, what you're gonna notice is that whenever you move the body, the head is left behind. This is because I constrained the neck joint to my head control. Head control. What I want to do is parent this head control to the sternum joint, but I can't just parent it like this because it's going to mess up my channels here. So what I want to do is group it to itself. So select the head control, modify, and group, or edit, group, right there. You're going to notice in the outliner that now you have a group, and under that group I have the head control. I'll name this head control group. And I want to parent the head control to the sternum. Shift control the sternum and hit P to parent. Now whenever I move my hip control or my root control, the head moves along with it, and whenever I rotate, the head rotates. So the arms are working, the legs are working, the head is working. I want to rig the eyes now. I want to go to my front view, go back to my animation shelf, and create a floating joint, which means I'm just gonna put it here around the eye. Make a joint right there. Press enter, and I want to give it a smaller radius. Probably, let's see what I get when I do 1. What about 0.5? 0.7. It's just a little bit bigger than the eyeball. Want to move that roughly to the center of my eyeball. Want to duplicate this joint. Move it to the other side. Want to go back into perspective view. Let's name it. This is my left eyeball. Left underscore eyeball joint. And this is the right underscore eyeball joint. Going to do a surface constraint. I want to constrain them to the eyeball so that whenever I move them, they don't go outside of the geometry. This is kind of hard to understand. It's better once I show it. So I'll select my eyeball, shift select the joint, constrain to geometry. It's gonna move back. Now what just happened here is that now my joint can only move along this surface. So if I try to move it to the right, it stops right at the edge of the eyeball here. And if I try to move it to the left, it stops here. If I try to move it up, so you get the point. This joint can't go anywhere outside the eye, and that's what I want. Want to do the same for the right eyeball. Select my geometry, shift select the joint, constrain geometry. Now I want to parent my, is it iris? Yeah, I want to parent my iris to the joint. So select the little iris or the little dot on the eyeball. Shift select the joint, hit P to parent. Now whenever I move the joint, that little dot moves along with it. Do the same for the other side. Select the dot, shift select my joint, hit P to parent. Now whenever I move my Satan, the eyeballs move with it. I don't want them, well, they stay inside the surface, they're not really moving. They're constrained to my surface. So now I want to build a control because I don't want to go into the joint and control them this way. I want to go back to my front view, create a curve, circle, move it right in the middle of the head, and I want to make a shape that kind of resembles a pair of goggles. Control vertex, move this down, move this to up. I have reflection on, that's why whenever I select one, the other side moves. Move it up, move it a little bit in. Move this up, move this down, move it in. And I think this is a good enough shape right there. I want to make a couple of circles that are going to be the actual control for the eyes. This is going to control both eyes at the same time, but I also want an extra control that moves each individual iris. Make a circle, move it roughly where to the center here. Make it smaller, right around there. I want to make sure that they're in the same plane, so I want to move this back. I'm going to snap to grid, and they're both exactly in the same plane now. Back to my front view, duplicate this, and this will be my right iris. I'll just name it eye control right. Control. And this will be my left eye control. I'm gonna delete history and freeze transformations on all of these. Delete by type history. Modify freeze transformations. This is going to be my eyes control. Eyes control. Now I want to parent the joint to my eye control. Hit P to parent. Do the same for the right. Hit P to parent. So now whenever I move this control, the eye moves. And whenever I move this other control, the right eye moves. It's a little bit off. Move it back in place. Now I want to parent both of these controls to the main eye control. So select first both of these little eyeballs, select the ice control, hit P to parent. I can probably find a better name for this, but that's what I'll use. So now whenever I move this, the ice move. There's a problem though. If I move this too far and then move back, these eyes are a little bit off because they kind of stay stuck there, and this keeps moving, and then when I move back it follows a path back, so they're kind of off, and I don't want that to happen. I want to go back to centering these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some limits on this control. Before I do that though, I want to parent it to the head. I want to make sure that translation is on 0. Again, I'm going to group this to itself. Control G to group it to itself. On the outliner, this is what it looks like. So I have the ice control and the right eye control and the left eye control. But so I want to group this entire thing to itself. Just select it here, press Control G to group, move the pivot, hit insert to move the pivot, move it up, and place it right in the middle of the neck. Hold V to snap to point. That's where I want it. And now I want to parent it to this joint there. Hit P to parent. So now whenever the head moves, the eye control moves right with it. I want to set the limits so that this doesn't go too far to the left or to the right, or so that it doesn't move too much up or down. I want to go into the attribute editor and open up my ice control, limit information, translate. I want to move it to the left, and right before it touches, so -80. So set a limit on the X to -0.80. -0.80. And to the right at around 0.80 also. So let's do 0.80. Okay, now whenever I move my eye control, it doesn't go past the boundary of the geometry. This is what I want. I want to do the same thing for when it goes up and down. I want to move it back to 0. And now set the limit for the translate Y. And it's not even, but this is okay. I like this. Like I said before, it looks more natural. And this is on 1.12, so on the positive Y, the limit is going to be let's do 1.1. 1.1, and when it goes down, do a negative 0.75. I'll just copy and paste the value. I want to test it to see if it's working. And translate C, I'll just lock the channel later, so don't worry about this. I'm gonna reset my movement. So now if I go up and down, my control has a limit, and if I move left to right, it also has a limit. There it is. You can set limits if you want to each individual eyeball, but most of the time characters move both eyes at the same time. It's up to you whether you want to do it or not. I want to test to see that everything is working correctly. To make sure that when I move everything else, the eyes are working good. Everything is good. And I will continue with the set driven keys on the next video.